Yeah. Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Your voice is clear.
Fine, thank you. Okay. Today just I discussed like Python. Before I'm going to go with Python fundamentals. Like before I go with Python versions installations, right? Need to know something about Python software foundation. Python software foundation, right? Yes. PSF. PSF. It is a non-profit organization. It is a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. Devoted towards Python community. The non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. It was launched in the year. It was launched in the year 2001, almost like 20 years ago it was launched. And the main objective of this Python software foundation, version to version, right, to foster the development. To foster the development of Python, right. In the year 2005, in the year 2005, right? Yes. PSF, Python's received Computer World Horizon Award, right? Computer World Horizon Award. The president for this PSF, nothing but the personality who developed or who introduced Python, right? The personality who introduced or who developed Python, like Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, right? The same personality is the president for this PSF. Where are the headquarters located? Headquarters. Delaware. Delaware, United States, right? US. Okay. Official website for Python. Official website. Official website. Python.org. Python.org is the official website of Python, from where we can download Python, right? We can download Python and install Python, and also we can see the documentation for each and every Python release. So this is something about Python Software Foundation, like PSF. It's a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. It was launched in the year 2001. Objective is to foster the development of Python. In the year 2005, PSF received Computer World Horizon Award. President Guido van Rossum, headquarters in Delaware, US. Official website python.org. Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Any query? Anyone has got any query? Official website python.org. Okay. Next, like Python versions. Before we go with Python installation, right? Python versions. Python versions, right? Yes. Python 1.x. Python 1.x version. It was released in the year 1990. So Python is not a kind of technology which is very recently introduced. It was introduced almost like we say like 30 years ago, like 1989. It was introduced. Python 2.x version. Python 2.x version, right? It was released in the year 2000, right? The version that we are using currently, 3 version. Python 3. Python 3.x. What do you mean by 2.x means? 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, multiple versions will be there, right? 3.x version, right? Python 3.x version. The first version of 3 released in the year 2008. Almost like 14 years ago, it was released, 3 version, right? It's latest version of Python. Latest version of Python. Python 3.10. Python 3.10 is the latest version. Stable version of Python, right? Stable version of Python. Stable version of Python 3.7 is mostly used. The stable version is nothing but mostly used version. Previous stable version. Python 2.7 is the mostly used. Yes. So these are the two versions, right? Python 1 version, 2 version, 3 version. The latest version that what we are using 3.10. Previously the stable version mostly used was 3.7 and the previous stable version was 2.7 which was mostly used, right? Okay. Python installation. So like go to this before I install Python, right? Python 3.10, right? Python 3.10, uninstall it. Uninstall it. So Python is going to provide a different softwares for different environments, right? For Windows, for Linux, and Mac OS. For Linux, no need of any no need of any installation. By default, Python comes as an inbuilt along with this Linux OS. Means whatever Linux flavor we are using, Red Hat Linux, CentOS, or Ubuntu OS, right? So by default, Python comes as an inbuilt. Just type Python on your terminal, Python gets opened. But for Windows 32-bit separate software Python provides. For Windows 64-bit provides separate software. Like if your Windows is a 32-bit Windows, like Python provides separate software for 32-bit. If your Windows is a 64-bit, how will you check whether your Windows is a 32 or 64-bit? Go to your My Computer, means go to your desktop and check your My Computer, right? Yes. So just right click your PC, and say properties. So My Computer or PC, right click and say properties. So it is saying system type 64-bit operating system, right? 64-bit operating system. If it is 32-bit operating system, you're supposed to download. I hope now today you are using like 64-bit OS only, right? Okay, uninstallation is successful, right? Close it. Now just open browser, right? Now what is the official website of Python? What is the official website of Python, right? Python.org. Python.org is the official website from where we are going to download the Python. Yes, python.org. You can see like PSF. Just now I was talking about PSF, right? Can you see that's Python Software Foundation? Python Software Foundation, the sponsorship, memberships, donors, volunteer, grants, vendor state, legal, everything, media information, right? So we support this Python community, right? Through grants, through infrastructure, right? So you can, if you want to see the documentation for each and every Python release, we have got docs, Python docs, well maintained. What's new in Python 3.7, 3.10, previous version to this version, right? So released August 19th, date when it was released, August 19th, 2022. Just yesterday it was released. This version, what we are seeing, right? 3.10.6, yesterday itself it was released. 19th August means yesterday, right? Okay. So what is the summary highlights, summary release highlights, right? What are the highlights of this release? Check it. What are the new features you see? What are the new features regarding to error messages? Name errors. Other key features, right? So option new features related to type hints. Type aliases, user defined type codes, other language changes. So related to modules, right? What are the different things you got in this new version, right? What are the things that got removed? What are the things that got removed? It will give the information about the properties, things that which got removed, right? Yes. Changes, any changes or modifications done to that existing modules, build changes. If anything got deprecated, anything got going to be get removed in the coming versions, which are going to get deprecated, which are going to get removed, everything you can see within this documentation. You should be in touch with this documentation. So for every new release, what are the new features you got and what are the features that got removed, everything you can see within this document. See Python Software Foundation, like docs, Python docs, Python related jobs. Click Python. So python.org, you'll be initially into this page. Downloads is available. Downloads, right? In the downloads, all releases. All releases, and just scroll down. Scroll down, you can see active Python releases. 3.10, 3.9, 3.8. But don't go for this active Python releases. Scroll down and say looking for a specific release. Looking for a specific release, right? So you can see all the Python versions from the last 20 years. From last 20 years, what all the versions introduced. You can see all this. If you scroll down, you can see all that hundreds of versions, right? Hundreds of versions which was released from the last 20 years. Python 2.0.1. This was the version, right? Python 2.0.1. Python 2.0.1, right? June 22, 2001, it was released. Now, select the version that you want to install from this. 3.10.6 is the latest version. Okay. August 2nd, 2022. August 2nd, 2022, right? 3.10.6. Okay, 3. Any version you can select 3.10.5 or 3.10.6. Anything is fine. 3.10.6. I'm just selecting 3.10.6. Just scroll down to the bottom. You can see the files. So for if your Windows is a 32-bit Windows, go for 32-bit. If it is 64-bit, go for 64-bit. If you are using Mac OS, you can just go with Mac OS 64-bit universal installer, right? And for Linux, so if it is 64-bit, just click that 64-bit, right? Yes. So the software size is like, if you see like downloading 27.6 MB, right? 27.6 MB. The Python software size is 27.6. So go to this python.org. So just to say Python download, otherwise python.org website you can go. In that, go to this downloads. In that, go to the specific version. I want to specific version, right? Select the 3.10.6. Download the size of it 27.6 MB. So here, if you talk, one second. Okay, the software size is just 27.6 MB, right? Thousands of modules, 89,300 inbuilt modules Python is providing for various domains. 89,300, right? So all the modules you're not going to see along with this Python software. Only commonly used modules, like hundreds of modules you can see within this Python software. If all that 89,000 modules included into this, right, the software size won't be like 27 MB, right? Fine. So if you want later, I'll show you like how to download and how to install the modules which are not available in Python software. How can we download and how can we install? Means like if you talk like high-end technologies, the modules related to high-end technologies, like data science related modules won't be available here. Database related, big data related, these models won't be available with the Python software. So we need to download and we need to install it separately. It hardly takes 1 minute time for downloading and installing. I'll later brief you. So we use a component called pip for downloading and installing, right? Later I'll demonstrate about that. Okay, just your download is done. Your download is almost done. So just click your downloaded file .exe file. Go to the downloads folder and click it. Otherwise, you can just click this, right? .exe file which was downloaded. A window, you will get a window, right, in this way. Now add Python 3.10 to path. Add Python 3.10 to path, right? Yes. Just click that, add Python 3.10 to path. And at the bottom, you can see that, right? Adding the Python path to the path variable of OS. Now choose this installation, right? Customize, go for customize installation. Yes, by default, you are going to get documentation, pip, ideally Python test suite. So these are the things you are going to get, right? Documentation, pip, documentation, pip, ideally, and test suite. These are the things, they will be already pre-selected. So just say next. Just say next, right? Yes. So here also nothing to select here, nothing to select. But one thing here, installation location, if you talk installation location, right? Where your Python is going to get installed. So tomorrow, if you want to install the modules of Python, right? We need to first locate the Python path where it is available. Okay. So it is installed somewhere in some subdirectories, right? In C, users, Dell, app data, local, programs, Python 3.10. So it is installed in many subfolders, right? And to every time when we install a model tomorrow, we need to give this entire path. So it is too difficult to give this big path. So remove this and just install Python in the C drive. Just install Python in my C drive. Remove all this, right? Remove all this. Just say C slash Python 3.10. Python 3.10 is nothing but 3.10. Python 3.10. A folder is going to get created with this name. A folder gets created into by this name, and Python gets installed in that folder, right? Yes. Just say install. Hardly it takes 1 to 2 minutes for installing Python. So setup was successful. Setup was successful, right? Yes. Just to close, and we need to check whether Python is successfully installed or not. At the bottom search panel, right? At the bottom search panel, type CMD to enter into the command prompt, or you can just go to the command prompt. Yes. And just type Python here. Whenever you type Python, the Python version to be displayed and Python interpreter should be opened. And I was discussing like Python supports interactive mode, which no other language supports, right? Interactive mode means statement by statement, we can interact with Python. For every statement, it gives the response, right? So just type Python here and say enter. Okay. It displays 1 second. We have got multiple versions of Python in my system. So if it's check right, yes. Python 3.8 available, 3.9 available, 3.10 available. 3.8, 3.9, 3.10. So multiple versions of Python can be installed, right? Multiple versions of Python can be installed in your system. 3.8, 3.9, 3.10. So tomorrow, like if you want to work with any version, right? For example, already existing file, let me open and show you, right? Okay. For example, any other batch, for example, there are some Python files here. Okay, graphs.py. Right click this file, right? Edit with title offshore. You want to open with 3.10 or 3.8 or 3.9? 3.8, 3.9, 3.10. 3.10, if you click, it will be opened in 3.10. Means if you want to edit any file, if you want to open any file, right click, edit with what? 3.8 version, 3.9 version, 3.10 version. You can select any version, right? Okay. If I open 3.10, can you check? Here up, can you see here what is the version it is saying? 3.10.6. 3.10.6. So yesterday I was just showing you the sample graph, right? Run module. Okay. Graph got generated, right? So here we are using 3.10.6. Just now I installed 3.10.6, right? That version. So multiple versions of Python also can be installed in your system, right? And I was talking about interactive mode, right? As well, like interactive mode, we can easily interact with Python statement by statement. 4 plus 5, just it gives that output. 5 plus 2, 7. No need to give that data types also. Directly we say x as 10, y as 5. What is x value? What is y value? What is x plus y value? What is x minus y? X into y, x by y, x into 2, 10 into 2, that is x to the power of 2, right? 10 squared, 100, right? In this way, any valid Python statements you can type and interact. If you want to come out of it, say quit, enter, right? Okay. So Python is successfully installed. It's working, right? Fine. If anyone from line, if you want to use Linux, if you're using Linux, right? If you're using Python within the Linux environment, so there, depending upon your Linux version, right? If you're using older version of Linux, older version of Python should be available. So for example, if you want to update that Python within the Linux environment, sudo apt -get install Python 3.10. Sudo apt-get install Python 3.10. This is the command which is going to install Python 3.10 in that. If you got older version like 3.6, 3.7, right? If you want to install this latest version, go for this is the command, right? So everything, what is this sudo? Nothing but we need to install from the root user everything, right? Yes. Okay. And if in the while installing Python, right? While installing Python, if you have forgot to check that option, Then there is an option, right? Add Python path to path variable of OS. Add Python path to path variable of OS. If you forgot to check it, means just before installing Python, there is an option you got. We need to select that option. Add your Python 3.10 to path variable of OS. That option, if you are not selected, then you are supposed to, whenever you go to the command prompt, type Python, it won't show. Python is not recognized, it will say. In such case, go to your C drive, right? Yes. Check where your Python is available. See Python 3.10 here, Python 3.10. This folder. Just click here, copy the path right here. Say copy here. Copy the path where your Python is available. And right click your PC or my computer. Right click your PC or my computer, properties. Next, advanced system settings. Advanced system settings. Environment variables. Either you can go for user or system. If you go to the system variables, right? If you observe here in the path edit, if you observe like Python 3.8, see this Python 3.10 was there, Python 3.8 is there. You need to paste your path here. I'll remove this. 3.8. I removed that path. Now can you see this 3.10 Python 3.10 scripts? Otherwise say new and just paste your path where your Python is available here. See Python 3.10. Okay. Say okay. Say okay. Okay, even in this path right here also user variables means particular user, or if you want the system variables means for all the users it works. This also you can check user variables right here also. I'll just remove this. I'll remove this. 3.10 already available here. Okay. Okay, if you want to work with the latest versions, right now I'm closing everything, right? Go to the command prompt, cmd, say enter, type Python, right? Type Python 3.10.6, that is the version that we are using. So that's one. If you want to work with 3.10.6, so which pathwise, which one is the latest? So here we don't need to set all this while installing Python. If you select that option, add Python to path variable, right? If you select it, no need to set all this. Directly Python will be recognized, right? Otherwise, if you forgot that option, then go to this where your Python path is available. That path you say right click and say in C drive Python 3.10. Copy this path, right? Yes. Copy this path and just go and paste. Where will you paste this Python path? Go to this my computer properties. Within that, advanced system settings. In advanced system settings, environment variables. in an environment where variables, system variables means for all the users, and for particular user, right, user variable. You can select anywhere, anything you can select. Here you can say path, edit. Here you can give Python 310. So here whichever will be the latest, right, here that will be first, which one, okay, that will be displayed. 310, right, 310. Python 310, you can paste it here, right, say new and paste it and say okay, okay. Set. So always it opens in Python 310. It always opens in Python 310, 3.10, the latest version, right? Yes. Okay. Okay, fine. Python execution modes, right? Python execution modes. Two modes of execution. Two modes of execution. Interactive mode. Second is batch mode. Interactive mode means just now I was talking, right? You can interact with Python statement by statement here. You can see here, right? Just now we are 4 plus 5. It gave the output 9. 5 plus 2, 7. It has given the output. Whenever you open Python, x has 10. Y. What is x value? What is y value? X plus y value, x minus y value, right? Interactive mode. Here we directly type. Here we directly type Python statements. Here we directly type on the interpreter, and the user can easily interact, and the user can easily interact with the Python. The user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. What is the advantage of interactive mode? The advantage of interactive mode is to test. For example, if it doesn't have knowledge about any particular functionality of Python, you can just type it there and you can just see what response it is giving. Based on that, you can analyze to test the functionalities of Python, to test the functionalities of Python, to test the functionalities of Python, and to learn Python. To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. And for the who wants to learn Python and the beginner, for the beginners, right, this interactive mode works better. For beginners and for the learners, right, interactive mode works better because you can check statement by statement what output it is returning, right? But for developing applications, right, in Python, this interactive mode is not preferred. So we go for batch mode. Here in the batch mode, right, here we write set of statements, right? Here we write set of statements. within the editors or IDEs. We write set of statements within the editors or IDEs. Integrated development environment, right? Within the editors or IDEs, and save it by using .py extension. And save it by using .py extension and later submit to Python So in the case of interactive mode, we won't save it by using .py. Directly we will be interacting, right? But here we'll write set of statements, batch of statements, save it as .py extension, and later submit to Python. Right? Yes. Now, what are the various editors where we can write the Python code? Various editors. In the case of Windows, right? Various editors, like we have got Notepad. Within the Notepad, you can write Python statements and save it as .py extension. Secondly, like Edit Plus. Within the Edit Plus also, we can write Python statements and create a .py file. In the case of Linux, we got vi and nano, right? Any query? Yes. Notepad and Edit Plus, we can write the Python code. vi and nano editors are used within the Windows environment, right? So these are the editors. But we have got in real time, we use IDEs, right? In real time, we use IDEs for Python. Various IDEs supported by Python. Various Python IDEs. Integrated development environments, various IDs. Not like others. If you see, not like I will be showing in one or two IDs. I'll be showing you in many IDs. I'll show you the downloading process, installation process, and how to write and how to execute the code on different IDs. Not on one particular ID. I'll be showing in different IDs as part of our course. See what are the various IDs available first. PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter Notebook, right? Atom, VS Code. So among all these, PyCharm is the mostly used for Python. Mostly used ID. PyCharm is the mostly used one. Why you may ask a query, right? Why these many IDs for Python? Why not one or two? Because Python used for different environments, right? For different environments, for data science, for big data, for networking, for animations, for gaming, for embedded applications, for networking applications, desktop applications, right? So for different environments, different IDs are preferred. For example, for data science, like Jupyter Notebook is mostly preferred for plotting visualizations. Even Spider ID is used. Even for big data, Spider is used. Jupyter is used. For typical web applications, PyCharm is mostly preferred. Atom is preferred. VS Code is preferred. So in this way, different environments, different IDs are used. I'm going to give you the knowledge on all these IDs, like a PyCharm, Spider, Eclipse, Jupyter, Atom, VS Code. How to work on different, how to download, how to install step by step, and how to run the code and execute the code within this IDEs. So that tomorrow, if you go to any environment, you'll be able to work with the IDEs, right? So fine. So these are the IDEs. So I'll show you like how to write the code first within the editors. how to write the code within the editors, how to create a .py, and how to submit first within the editors. Later I will come back to this IDs, right? Yes. So like today we have discussed like Python Software Foundation. It's a PSF. It's a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. Was launched in the year 2001. The objective is to foster the development of Python version to version. And the president is Udo van Rossum. Is the same personality who introduced Python. Headquarters in Delaware, USA. Official website python.org. Versions wise, one version, two version, three version. Three version is the mostly the version that we are using. That 3.10 is the latest version, right? And the installation I was showing you, right? Go to python.org, go to the downloads folder, download it and install normal installation. But while installation, give the smaller path in C drive if you want to install, right? And execution modes, two modes, interactive and batch mode. So more discussion on these modes, right? Interactive mode and batch mode. In the next session, I'll be showing you like in the batch mode, how to create a py file and how to submit, developing the first Python application, writing within the editors and submitting it and writing within these IDs, right? So in the next session, I'll be discussing more on this, right? So I'll be entering into the technical part in the next session. Next session also, everyone, you can attend the session. Next will be on Monday. Tomorrow, Sunday, there is no class. We'll meet on Monday again. Same time, follow the same link to see more on this Python. Everyone can attend, right? This next session also, it's a free sessions. Next two sessions will be free for you. You can just check the training levels. Next, after that, I'll be discussing like the fundamentals, what happens internally when we define some variables in Python, right? How this memory is allocated, their addresses, their types, and their contents, right? Fine. Any queries you have got, anyone, as part of today's session or anything related to Python? Check your Google Drive, shared with me option. The videos are getting shared every week, every day you'll be getting the recorded video. Okay, you can check your whatever mail ID you have provided. To that mail ID, go and check your Google Drive, shared with me option if you are able to. And can anyone confirm whether you have received the yesterday video? Okay, you can just go through it once. Yeah, any other queries?
हेलो सर,
Yes, yes.
आप जो पाइथन जो ऐप इंस्टॉल करने के लिए बोले, हम वो कोड रन कैसे कर सकें?
So you want to install Python, you are saying, right?
हाँ, यस सर.
So here just select that Windows, go to this python.org, downloads, release. So can you see this, right? Windows installer.
Yes.
Click it. If you click downloads, it is going to get downloaded, right? After that, you can just go to the downloads folder, click the exe file, click that file which was downloaded, right? Click it. You will get a window gets opened, right? Can you share the screen otherwise? Okay, so fine. If you first try to install, everyone, if you are facing any problem, right, in the next class at the start of the session, you can share your screens. If anyone is facing problem in this Python installation, shared screen option available in this Zoom, right? You can share your screen, right? Fine. Check it once. Go to the video of today's and see that and install Python. So Python is a software where you can install on any like Windows, Linux, Mac OS, even on your smartphones. You can install Python and just type your code and execute your code within these smartphones also. Go to the Play Store and type Python IDEs. Many IDs you will be getting. Select in one proper ID and work with it, right? Fine. Yeah, any other queries? Any other queries you have got? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What is the exact time of class? Because 7 to 8 now. Because I have working professional, so that's why some problem created. So it is the can you able to tell the exact time, means 7 to 8 it is exact time or not?
Yeah, 7 to 8. So just recently, right? There is a batch. If you want, you can just join 6 o'clock batch also. Just before this, there is a batch called at 6 a.m. At 6 a.m. also there is a batch going on. Just recently started. If you feel this time is not you can just join that batch.
Started or it will start?
It already started, right? Just like 4 days, just 4 to 5 days before this batch.
This also online batch.
All are online batches only.
Okay, sir. Which sir is taking that batch?
I am only taking that batch also, right?
So, but I don't have links of that batch. Can
You
share?
got enrolled with this Python. You got registered and enrolled.
Uh,
If you got enrolled, if you got registered, means by after paying the fees, right? You can attend any of my batches, morning or evening, right?
okay, sir. Because the 7 to 8 is preferable time, sir. After 8:30, my working time, so that's why.
So no. This batch, okay, before 8 only it will be completed. 7 to 8, right? Fine.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, before 8 only it gets. So that's the reason we have kept the batches for those people who are for working professionals and those for the students who can listen and go to their colleges, right? Fine.
Yes, sir.
So this is what early morning batches before 8 it gets completed. 7 o'clock it starts. So okay, fine. Any other
Good
questions?
morning, sir.
So
Sir, I have one doubt. So, sir, do you do any real-time project on Python currently?
so fine. So just for a project, right? You need to have the knowledge on the Django framework, right? So you need to also go with those who wants to see. There are two categories of people who wants to learn Python. So there are two categories of
Okay.
people who learns Python, right? Just observe this. 1 second. Python. So here two categories. Who wants to learn Python? First category of people, right? Okay. They learn only Python. They learn only Python, right?
Okay.
Python core and advanced only. Means okay. After learning, they'll be going for implementing using Python. They are going to implement data science, this machine learning, deep learning concepts, big data, right? They go for big data environment like Spark with Python, PySpark with it, and writing scripts in AWS or DevOps, automation scripts in AWS or DevOps, or in IoT, writing automation scripts, or in robotics. So in this way, different environments, high-end technologies, this Python is used, right? So their career is not in Python, right? But their job role will be in data science or in big data. They are into the AWS, IoT or robotics, but implementation goes in Python, right? Yeah. But those who wants to have a career in Python itself, I want to have a career in Python. So Python developer, right? So those who wants to have Python developer, they need to go a step forward. You need to update with Django framework. Django framework. Totally, this deals with the project development only. The Django framework totally deals with the project development, right? How to create a project like a application, giving request, how the request response, right? The Django framework. Totally, we'll be discussing about the entire structure of that Django MVT architecture. You need to completely know about this architecture for creating a project in Python, MVT. This everything you are going to see in the Django framework, MVT. Model, view, template. View is nothing but Python functional view, class-based view. Models means database. Templates means like the web page that you are designed by using HTML, CSS, like Bootstrap, all this, right? So your design. So the interaction between these three, right? So a typical web application where we can interact between these three. So Python, you are going to write the business logic implementation within this Python. And if you want the storage, if you want to store that in database, or if you want to retrieve from the database, retrieval happens. And the display that whatever you are retrieving, if you want to display right on your web page, or and entering any details into that web page, that business logic takes that input details and from the database. So this is what MBT architecture you need to understand. And there we'll totally deal with creation of projects, right? And I'm going to show you on 3 IDs. PyCharm is the mostly used. PyCharm professional IDE. Community edition also there, but we go for professional IDE. Community is only for only Python code. And Atom and VS Code. I'm going to show you on these 3 IDs. What is that? Developing web applications, right? So I'm going to show you nearly 20 plus applications creations. Those who are going for Django framework, who choose Django framework means web development in Python, 20 plus applications. That too, applications means by watching you won't get any knowledge, right? By watch whatever I'm doing, right? So you will be doing along with me parallelly. So once application 1 completed, everyone got the result. If anyone got any error, you will be sharing the screen. Why? Because you need to also know how that error occurred and how to rectify. So that after completion, just we go with application 2 in this way, right? I said as last I was showing you that what we have done in the previous batches, right? Previous batches, if we show you that applications, Django apps, here, just observe this Django apps, the various applications, my project 1, project 2, project 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this way, 20 plus we'll be discussing, right? So first 2, 3, 4 projects, simple normal projects means basic, like the basic level. So later you will come to know the things, how the first 5, 6 steps will be common to each and every project. 4, 5 steps will be common. So that's so if you just go through this Django apps, and if you see that clear notes for all this, if you take any weekend batch, take any batch, see that notes step by step, anything, right? Notes also I'll be providing step by step, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, step 2, how to create or start a project, creating or starting project, right? Creating or starting an application. What are the steps, step by step? Step 3, go to how to specify URLs. Means URLs means for any web page you need to have a URL, right? Like gmail.com, facebook.com. Here also we specify a URL for our web application, right? So these things I'll be showing you in this IDs like PyCharm, Atom, and VS Code, right? Fine. So as I said, right, it's an offer batch, Python plus Django. For Django, I'm giving I'm giving HTML, CSS, a part of JavaScript and Bootstrap, right? These things I'm providing free for this. Those who are going for Django, these things I'm providing freely before I go with Django, right? So that fee structure also, like it's an offer batch. Python is just for 5K. Previously, Django was for 8K, but it is given for 5K only. So if you take both like a combo package, it's just for 9K, you can get both, right? Python, Django, and UI technologies, UI like HTML, CSS, JSON. So 3 things, Python plus Django plus UI, right? For 9K. But only Python, if you want, you can just go for this Python. More advanced and application oriented modules you will be getting, right? Yes. Fine. Okay.
And so which database is prefer with Python, sir?
So like by default, Django will have its own database, SQLite 3. The name of the database is SQLite 3. Python has got its own database. That is, Django has got its own database, SQLite 3. But I doesn't want SQLite 3. I want Oracle. I want to connect with MySQL. That also I'll be showing you, right? How to connect. I'll be showing you applications on this.
So Oracle is good to learn with Python, right?
Oracle and MySQL, right? MySQL also mostly used. Oracle and MySQL. I'll be showing you on this. You can use any database. I'll be showing you I'll be showing you installation of one database also step by step. You'll be doing parallel along
Like
with me. The
Java
installation
use
of database.
Oracle and .NET use SQL Server, then Python uses SQLite.
So this SQLite 3 is a database name. Okay, it's a database.
Okay, sir.
Like Oracle, like SQLite 3 is also a database, right? Fine. The duration of
Okay, sir.
the duration of the course track, I said nearly 75 hours per only Python, and nearly 50 hours for this Django, right? But 75 hours, 2.5 months. But I'm saying like parallelly you can go right with Python and Django. Any Django bar starting, you can parallelly go with Django also, right? Fine.
Can we do
Sir,
that
it is
Python
possible.
and for Django? It will be the same amount, is it? Like 9K?
9K is that, right? For Python, Django, and UI, for all this, the fees is 9K.
Initially, we can pay 5K and then 4K if we want to continue for Django.
If you want one time, like if you are paying 9K, then you can later if you want, you're supposed to pay 5K. 5K plus Django for this, right?
Okay.
You can just about that commercials, you can have a talk with that team, right?
Okay. Okay.
Front office. Already you can check in the chart panel. They have provided the contact details, the payment details, the way of pay. You can see in the chart panel, right? A big message is given about this payment structure, right? Which includes class, videos, soft copy materials. So okay, you can just go contact details also. You can just make a note for the future interaction. Okay.
Sir, it is possible to go in parallel.
So yes, if you can go parallelly,
Is
you can go parallelly with Django and Python. Those who wants to go within, if you want to complete within 2.5 months or 3 months, you can go parallel because before I'm starting Python, you can go with HTML, CSS, where you don't require any Python knowledge, right? First, I'll be discussing UI, HTML, CSS, these things, both JavaScript, Bootstrap. By the time I complete this, your Python core will be completed. Python core will be completed. Later, once I go with Django introduction, architecture, that first Django applications creations. So even like half of your Python advanced gets completed, right? Fine.
okay, sir. What is the timing of that batch?
Django.
No, sir. Sir, we can go parallel for Python and Django. So first you cover SQL, MySQL, and Oracle. So what is the timing of that batch?
So Python daily it will be at 7 to 8, right? Daily
Yes.
morning 7 to 8. It's the Python timing. And Django currently, if you want to go right, Django weekend batches are available as now. Weekend batches, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, it is started or will
2 hours.
start?
2 hours. So anyone, if you want to attend a Django, right? Today at 11 o'clock, you people can attend a new batch started. Last week, it was just given introduction about HTML. HTML, it was started. So if anybody wants to go with HTML, you can just go with HTML, right? It was started recently. Otherwise, you can start with any other batch which is going to start in the coming days. Once you get registered, you can attend any of my batches like Python or Django. Fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
For 11 a.m. link, if you want, you can just contact that online team. That is the contact details, right? Fine. Okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so fine. So
Sir, I have one last question. I'm sorry. So if we are aspiring to become a data science or data analytics side of it, I heard that you are also taking batches for Python and data science, right? So is there a separate uh, class for data science as well?
recently started like 2 weeks ago, but
Okay.
when will be the next batch, we cannot say, right? Still it is not. I am taking batches for Python for data science and for big data also, right?
Wow. Yeah, that's nice.
Spark with Python implementation, big data. It is a hot cake. Like today, like PySpark has got great demand. Big data,
Right, sir. Right,
huge,
right.
huge data processing within quick time. Spark with Python. So that is a weekend batch at 4:30 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays for all the job holders. Right?
Mm.
Spark with PySpark and Python for DS, Python and for web applications. So generally Python for web applications, that is what the current batch, what you people are attending. Python for data science and Python for big data, Python for Spark, PySpark. These are the other batches I'm taking, right? Fine.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay,
but
sir.
future, if you want to go for Python for data science, future again, recently batch started, but the next batch still not confirmed, right? Fine.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So if I'm done with your queries, I'll just stop for here and we'll meet on Monday at same time at 7 o'clock. It's with the same link you can join on Monday and Tuesday. Mostly like Wednesday, the link will be changing, right? Fine. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Fine. Meet on Monday.
Yes.